And now, let's join ace broadcaster Mamode Akugha as he takes us inside the Niger Delta.
Hello out there and welcome. This is Inside the Niger Delta and I am Mamode Akugha. Today we're focusing on the city of Port Harcourt, capital of Rivers State, where residents for over a year now have been breathing in black particulate matter, otherwise known as black soot. Well, how dangerous is the black soot? Where does it come from? What can government do to stop it? And what are the health implications of breathing in the black soot? Well, these and many other issues will be taken on Inside the Niger Delta for today. I am standing in Agri Road, Port Harcourt. This is old Port Harcourt. And to get a sense of what the soot is like and the kind of air people breathe in, if you look around the surroundings and just look at those buildings over there, you will see that the walls are just completely black, and it can give you a sense of the kind of air people breathe in Port Harcourt. I'm just going to try to rub my hand. This is a stationary vehicle because usually you come from work in the evening, park your car. In the morning when you come out, you rub your hands in the car, it's all black. So to have a sense of that, I'm going to rub my hands on top of this stationary vehicle, and it can give us a sense of the kind of air that people are breathing in Port Harcourt. So like I said, it's a stationary vehicle. I'm going to rub my hands on it now, and you can see what my hands look like. It's completely black. This is from the black soot in Port Harcourt City. This is found outside the house. Inside the house you can also find it. It's just an indication of the kind of air, that poisoned air that people breathe in Port Harcourt.
Inside the Niger Delta.
The black soot have been around for over a year now, and some Port Harcourt residents have actually turned themselves into soot activists. They launched a campaign to stop the black soot, and we're trying now to find out from them what they think about the black soot.
I think it's a cocktail of issues. It's a cocktail of possible sources. But like you said, Port Harcourt has witnessed this raging soot. It's over a year now. It looks as though it goes down a bit and then it comes up again. But in a nutshell, what we see as the soot is the general name is particulate matter, PM. And particulate matter could be a combination of solid particles, of soot, of dust, of smoke, of moisture. It's not only soot that is classified as particulate matter. And in terms of size, they are classified as PM 2.5 or PM 10. 2.5 meaning the particles measure up to 2.5 microns, and PM10 meaning they measure up to 10 microns. And although the name 2.5 appears to be the smaller size, in terms of health impact, it is the inverse of it. It causes the most danger potentially, because it can penetrate as far as your alveoli region of your respiratory tract. But the PM10, because it's relatively larger, a lot of it might be trapped in your trachea. So in terms of which is more dangerous, PM 2.5 is more dangerous. So basically what causes this soot, it is incomplete combustion of hydrocarbon products. Your crude oil burns, it doesn't burn well. Your petrol burns, it doesn't burn well. It produces soot.
Sometime in about November in 2016, we found that a lot of house helps or personal servants were being fired because the owners of the homes believed that they were not doing their jobs of cleaning the houses. But after about a couple of weeks later, they found out that there was a deliberate emission of soot, or a black substance which was pervading homes. And this led us in 2016 to raise a campaign, and the campaign led to a street walk, to an awareness walk, and also a campaign to caused the government to act. So the day we did the work, we eventually spoke with then Commissioner of Information, Dr. Sekibo, and the present Commissioner for Environment. And they told us that the River State government had constituted a committee, and that this committee, they have also constituted or instigated the research into finding, one, where the particulate matter was coming from, two, the locations where it is found, the sources, and what constitutes it. That was in 2016. But as at 2017, immediately the rains left, the rains came and people had a kind of breather. And you know, typical Nigerians, once they don't see things, they forget. Now, by the time the rains left, everywhere it went crazy and terrible. As you sleep, you see it daily. Basic areas of test: pour water on your floor, or rub your hand on your car. When it rains, rub your hand on your car. What you have is acid rain in River State. Pour water on your floor, you see it's there to show. Get your air conditioner after 7 days. Remove the filter. It is dead black.
So these Stop the Soot activists are just residents of Port Harcourt who are very worried and very concerned about the situation and probably its health implications. But has the River State government tried to find out what the situation is exactly, scientifically that is? Well, we'll talk now to the Honorable Commissioner for Environment, Rosalie Konya, to find out from her if any test has been done, conducted to find out what exactly is the cause for the black soot.
We did some preliminary samples along Peter Odili Road and at Buluma, because we found out that even when it was less in most parts of Port Harcourt at that time, these areas I mentioned now, they still had very, very high prevalence of this black soot. So we did the sampling, and after the sampling, we discovered from the analysis, from the fingerprinting of the samples, we discovered that this substance contained quite a number of substances. And what substance were we measuring? The PM 2.5. Now we chose this because this is internationally accepted as the size to measure when there is a problem like this. We found that in the Odili Road axis, the value obtained at the time was 270 microgram per cubic meter between 12 in the night and 6 in the morning. Then at the Aboloma end, we got the same value, 270 microgram per cubic meter between 12 midnight and 6 a.m. We used filter measurements that it sucks in the air and ensures that the particles adhere to the filter, which we take to the laboratory using solvents and then analyzing in the equipment available there. Now, when we got this, we said, okay, let's try between 6 and 8 in the morning. We did the same tests. And of course, the value we got was for the PM 2.5, for the Odili Road end, was 62 microgram per cubic meter. And for the Aboloma end, double, 124 microgram per cubic meter. Well, we deduced from this that it means that the activities that are causing these problems looks like they are taking place in the night towards morning, but not in the morning, not much in the morning because of the values we got. But of course, this needs to be authenticated by doing several samples so that at least we know that we're taking the mean of all the measurements. We also found that there were quite a number of substances that were present in this particulate matter, this 2.5. nickel was there, and nickel is usually an indication of refining, product of refining. We also observed some benzopyrene and other compounds of benzene. And you know, once you hear benzo, what comes to mind is benzene, and benzene causes cancer anywhere it is. And so it became very worrisome. We also found out that the benzo compounds of benzopyrene is also a compound that is found in materials that are used in the manufacture of tires. And then we said to ourselves, there is this trade now in Port Harcourt and its environment, burning of tires, old tires, to retrieve the wires in the tires for recycling. We've arrested some of them, those that we have found. And of course, what they do was they cite security agents, they run away and all that. And you know that burning of tires, the flame and the smoke from burning of tires is very persistent, very enduring. It's not like a flame that goes and comes. So this is also part of what is contributing to the presence of soot in the atmosphere. And then we also know that asphalt plants were also causing problems. In fact, we had to close down a particular one some time ago because we got there and the chimney was oozing out smoke, and it wasn't very good into the atmosphere. Now, we also know that there's this big business of bunkering, artisanal refining, and in fact, they don't have the expertise to do this. So what they are doing is virtually like cooking the petroleum products, which they have stolen, because they don't have wells, they don't have oil wells. So what they do is tap them from the pipes, existing pipes of IOCs. We also know that they are doing this in the mangrove. The mangroves that are supposed to be green have all turned white. And we went to see the Navy for sensitization. And we saw mangroves that are turned white. That is, the stem of mangroves are no longer brown or green. They were all white because there's no more life in them.
So many Port Harcourt residents have accused the Army and the Navy of contributing to the black soot in Port Harcourt City by destroying the petroleum products that are illegally refined in the creeks in a manner in which they end up contributing to producing black soot in the city of Port Harcourt. But the Navy, while conducting journalists some months ago to one of the sites for illegal refining of petroleum products in the creeks, explained to journalists that they no longer do that as they now put the environment into consideration.
To lead an onslaught targeted at the very heart of the production line and infrastructure of illegal refining activities in River State, taking place here at Iyalama community. It will interest you to know that there are over 30 refineries within this community alone. This is indeed the epicenter and the center of illegal refining activities in the state. We are confident that by decimating and destroying this huge infrastructure you can see behind me, we would have degraded and maybe eliminated the ability of the operators of this illicit enterprise to regroup, reorganize, and resume any form of activity. Like you are aware, the activities of these criminals have affected the economic fortune of our country and has their consequences on the environment, obvious here, and the health of the populace. As a result of suits, we must also know that there have been outcry about sedimentation of soot within the atmosphere, sometimes erroneously misconstrued to to be from activities of the military against activities of these criminals. But this is not true. As you can see, we have adopted the Swan Boogie operation approach to our campaign against crude oil theft and illegal bunkering in Rivers State. And it is at the moment the most environmentally friendly approach to this onslaught. The refineries you see here have capacity to refine over 3 to 4 million liters of AGO. So it is huge. And we believe by the time we are through, a lot of gains would have been made in the direction that we have been mandated to follow.
In Port Harcourt, as a matter of fact, there is no escaping the black soot. Whether you're outside, you're inside, you can't escape it. It's everywhere. You lock the windows, it gets into the house somehow. I'm standing just beside the building and windows are locked. There is a net outside, but I'm going to try to put my hands on the net now and see what the situation is, what kind of... So you can see clearly again that you have the black soot on the net, so there's really no escaping it whatsoever, no escaping it. You can see the black soot. So it gets into the house, and except you dust every single day, the black soot will be right there. Even now, I'm inside my office in Port Harcourt. Windows are shut, but you can see the blinds behind me. I'm just going to try to run my finger through it and see what we'll get from there. Again, you can see what's on my fingers. You can see how black it is. And these blinds are cleaned regularly, but leave them unclean for a day or two. You get back and this is what you get. So if this is coming into the house and into the office, and you are in the office and you are breathing, you don't know what you are taking in, but obviously you are breathing in quite a lot that is unhealthy for the human body. So many questions have been asked. What is the government doing to try to get this under control? For instance, this is Port Harcourt. What is the Rivers State Ministry of Environment doing to get this under control? We're going to go straight to the office of the Honorable Commissioner for Environment to find out what the government is doing to try to bring this under control.
And so we now started embarking on sensitizations to those who have direct or remote connection to this production of soot. So what we did was to sensitize. We went around the army. We saw the GOC. I mean, in fact, we've seen him twice. And he has told us what they are doing. And we told him that we are not in support of setting ablaze seized drums of petroleum products that they get from the artisanal refining. That the best thing is to return them back to base, to where they think they come from. And in fact, this requires testing by the DPR. Then they told us that the DPR says that their laboratory is not working, the equipment not working, and that NNPC says they don't have any space to take in the seized products, and therefore they had to resort to setting ablaze because that was the only option that was available to them. We went to the Army, we went to Navy. In fact, we went there twice because the first Commodore was transferred, and we had to see the present one, Commodore Bura, who took us around and showed us badges where they are now transferring the seized petroleum products into. So there are no more setting ablaze according to him. We also went to the NOA, Orientation Agency, for them to assist us. And we went to the Civil Defense Corps because they are directly in charge of this type of activities, and they promised that they will no longer burn seized products. We've all decided that there should be a roundtable discussion very soon, and we've started mobilizing so that we get these key stakeholders in, and we'll sit somewhere and brainstorm and let them tell us exactly what they have done so far, because all the companies, even the legal ones, are liable. Indorama, Petrochemical, Notore, NNPC. In fact, if you are going down LMA axis, you will just see the flaring of NNPC, sometimes in different colors. They have the yellow flame, you have the black, and then in layers, sometimes small, sometimes large. And we confronted them when we went there last week. They admitted that it is true. And I also know that when I was Commissioner of Environment earlier in 2004, we attended quite a number of meetings in Abuja. And they had promised, the federal government had promised, that they will be stopping flaring, gas flaring, because if you analyze the gas that they are flaring, it will be terrible for you to know that carbon monoxide and all the horrible gases are in that they are flaring. So we confronted them recently to say, okay, others are doing it, IOCs, but NNPC, why will you still be flaring? Well, they were sorry, but they said that they have an arrangement now where NNPC will be rehabilitated very soon, and that very soon it will be a thing of the past.
What exactly are the health hazards of breathing in the black soot? Well, we talked to two practicing doctors in the city of Port Harcourt now to find out from them their perspectives and what people can do to minimize breathing in the black soot.
Those who have asthma, the asthma gets worse. And those who have what we call reactive airway disease, which looks like asthma. Now, I mentioned interstitial lung diseases and connective tissue lung diseases. Many more people are developing those disease conditions as compared to before, right? And for those who already have existing lung disease like chronic obstructive airway disease, it's getting worse for them to cope. So within the respiratory disease spectrum, this is what we already see, right? Then of course the other effects, which are, one thing with environmental related diseases, there's what we call the subclinical level of toxicity and exposure. The effects are there, but they are not manifesting obviously. So you're not going to probably see them. It doesn't mean that effects are not there, because a lot of the effects at a certain point in time will be subclinical until the point when it becomes full-blown.
There are two main approaches. My own recommendation is to guard your environment. We all sleep in the homes overnight or even during the day. Learn to close your windows, shut the doors. Put on your AC if you have. And those who don't have AC, there are some people who don't have fans. Maybe you have to learn how to shower as many times before daybreak so that the sweat should not be too much. I've also been seeing what happens in other countries. Of recent, New Delhi was highly polluted, or in Shanghai and so forth. You see people going about with face masks. So there's nothing wrong and putting it on. Other people run away from you and see something unusual, but you know this for your own benefit. It can also help them too, because many of them are ignorant of this. Another thing that I think we should try to do is trying to boost our immunity. How do we boost our immunity? We have to eat healthily.
As people continue to suffer the effects of the black soot and government seems to be slow to action, can they take matters into their own hands and seek redress in court?
We see environmental pollution as is much more than just public nuisance. So in public nuisance, they say if you must go to court, you have to go with the consent of the Attorney General, because what everybody is suffering, why would you be the only person that want to go to court? So you need the Attorney General's consent. But we've gone beyond that. In matters of this nature, like environmental pollution, you do not need the consent of the Attorney General. In fact, I did a case recently against Mamode. You know, the defense, their defense and their whole challenge to the case, to our claim was, that the pollution was of a public nature. Why would only my clients now sue? That since they didn't seek and obtain the consent of the Attorney General of Rivers State, the case was not properly constituted. Of course, they were roundly overruled by the Federal High Court, and 1.95 billion was awarded against Mamode. They are on appeal now, so we can't talk about it. But the courts will not accept the fact that because you did not seek the consent of the Attorney General, you cannot enforce your... So long as you can show that you are a victim. Because that's the important thing. You must show that you suffer something, and it's so easy to prove, even though some bit of science is required. You must show that you have suffered much more than every other person. Maybe your person is involved. You can show that as a result of, if we take the Soot, for instance, you're inhaling the air, you are a person with special needs, you have suffered much more than your neighbor. Once you can establish that, you can sue. But if we must be talking about the Port Harcourt Soot, you need to identify the polluter first.
Well, that's our package on Inside the Niger Delta for today. It is clear, of course, that the government, both at the federal and the state level, must do what is necessary to restore the environment to its original state and eliminate the black soot to avoid a health epidemic, who knows, 2, 3 years, 4 years down the line. We need to make the city of Port Harcourt safe for all its residents. My name is Mamode Akugha. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye for now.